Hi guys, so I'm adding to my videos, and what I'm talking about today is asking telling questions. The reason that you want to do this is if you have watched my other video and you're at the point where you have done enough research on yourself and now you have some knowledge to say, okay, I like this, I like that, I learned this, I learned that, I know me enough to ask this plethora of questions so that for me, my reasoning is I don't want to have a whole bunch of people with my phone number that should just not have my phone number. And you cut down on a lot of those things if you know what your deal breakers are. Some things are adjustable, some things are not. Like one of the questions that I asked before I get my number was, "Do you own a cat?" Now, it's not to say if like I'm out and about in a nightclub and I'm about to run you down with questions, but maybe these are some questions that I asked on the first conversation. So, I am definitely allergic to cats. I have great friends that I have not seen in a while. I have great friends that I love going over their house. One girlfriend I was helping her decorate couldn't do it anymore. She got a cat. So much so a cat had kittens on my porch the day before I gave birth to my daughter, and I rescued two of them because they were on the cement about to fry. And those couple hour old kittens gave me the itchies. And like I got my tonsils removed. My tonsils were so to the point where I couldn't breathe. So it basically like suffocating. So that's the question that I asked. Do you like dogs? I had one of my mentors try to fix me up, and I rattled these questions off. If I have time to talk, I'm gonna ask you some questions before you get my number. And the guy was like, "Oh, nah." So one of my mentor was like, you're supposed to say you can learn to love them. I'm like, no, I want you to be who you are, come as you are, and if something doesn't match, we just don't even need to go any further. Do you smoke cigarettes? You know, I smoke cigars, but I don't like someone who smokes cigarettes. Later on, do you have an issue because I do smoke cigars? What's your religion? Very good question. Are you a churchgoer? Me, I'm a bedside Baptist kind of girl. Saint Mattress is where I attend. Watch it from home. I watch it on television, and that feeds my needs. I need somebody that still is ran by God, actively seeks God, has a connection with God, but I'm not a church kind of girl. So a lot of people want to, a lot of men become head of the household, and I'm willing to give my husband that authority. But if you need to take me as I am now, I don't want to run to church every Sunday. Just me. Um, do you have kids? Do you want more kids? Very big question. Can you have kids? Fellas, this is a question that you want to ask women. I couldn't answer this question because I had never been pregnant before my daughter. I had never been pregnant, not once. I never played with it to say, oh, yeah, I can get pregnant now. Let me get an abortion. Never have I been pregnant. So I could not tell somebody if, I could. I could say, well, I have my period on time, but I couldn't tell you whether or not I could have kids. Some women do find out that they cannot have kids. So you have to decide, do you want to do the in vitro? Do you want to do surrogacy? Are you willing to go that route with that woman if your relationship progresses? And some people are okay with going the mile with you if they really do love you and you are their mate. Some people don't want to do it. Again, I may have said this, do you want more kids? A question that I asked, I've got some very interesting answers too, and I've heard a lot of women come off of dates with a very interesting answer. Do you have any children? Do you have any children on the way? Do you have any children in any other countries? Or any DNA test currently clearing that you're waiting on the result for? Do you have any sticks that have been peed upon and you're waiting on any phone calls? And anyone missed their period in the last, you know, 10 months? Let's just take it back 12 months. Just take it back to be safe. In the last 12 hours, anybody late that you need to know about? And I've gotten some very interesting answers. So those are questions that you want to ask. Do you eat pork? What do you eat? What don't you eat? Um, do you plan on staying in this city forever? Do you have any job offers somewhere else out and about? How do you feel about your parents growing up? How did you feel about your parents growing up? How do you feel about your parents now as an adult? These answers can totally change. For me as a woman, I always ask, how do you feel about your mother? I know people who are not fond of their mother, who are still respectful of their mother, whether she was a drug user or she put them up for adoption, and you kind of get intricate along the way. Like I have one of my best friends, when she says my grandmother's son, she means her grandmother's son, which is her biological father. She considers him sperm donor. That's it. Her father is her father. Her father is the man that raised her. That's her dad. I've never known any other man to be in her life. You know, as a father, that is her dad. That's who I consider her father as well. But when people talk and have certain discussions, you need to know who they're talking about. Um, a question that I think is very telling, and it you kind of have to figure out how a person has dealt with it. Have you ever been, and when, or how many times have you ever been raped or molested? One of my favorite pastors, Joyce Myers, talks about her molestation for years of her life by her father. I would think that this would be something that you really need to discuss or really need to know about someone if you're going to date them. If you're at this age where you've done your research, again, I've done this video a couple times, so I maybe repeat myself, but I have a video about doing your research, learning yourself, dating everybody, anybody. You know, don't go out with anybody crazy, but dating enough so that you learn what truly makes you happy and not what you think makes you happy. And some people just go off and date everybody. Don't do that, because a lot of people are crazy, but you know, maybe date outside your box a little bit more. They may show you something. Maybe you were a Christian, now you want to be a Buddhist because somebody showed you something new. Maybe you never ate Indian food because you're finally dating an authentic Indian from India, you know. So maybe learning different things outside your box. My comparison is you never went to school and had one teacher for 12 years. You had different teachers who had different classes and different specialities and different degrees, and they taught you different things. That's why school's set up that way. Maybe you didn't like math 2 years ago, but you like math now because your teacher teaches you differently. So some people, you know, that's how I feel you should date. Now if you've done that at least for a year, I recommend it for a year, and now you're at this point where you know yourself a little more, you should have a set of questions to go into it and ask. A lot of times women don't think to ask men that question: have you ever been raped or molested? It's sad. I mean, it can teach you and show you a lot about a person. uh and I think that that's something that people skip over when they're dating someone else. Have you dealt with it? Have you ever talked to anybody? Have you had any death close to you? Like my mother's passed. If someone lost a family member, you know, was it a car accident? Were you driving? Do you feel responsible? Have you ever gotten over that? Excuse me. You know, how long before you introduce your person you're dating to your family? Who do you live with? Uh, and one thing I want to say is I'm not above checking social media, and I'll tell you why. But talking to a guy, and this is also a red flag. Someone can't talk to you on their phone, like their actual phone number. They're calling you on apps. Unless you live in different countries, I think that's a red flag. A guy was talking to me on Tango. He kind of like popped in a conversation, chit chatted, da 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 da, and then he had got my number, but we had the app, and I just started checking around. Beautiful wife, beautiful kids. So I asked him, "Are you married?" Family photo, ring showing. You know, no, I'm not married. So I sent him the picture. He disappeared real fast. You know, so ask that question. A lot of people. I have a 4-year divorce rule where I think it takes 4 years for somebody to kind of get over the grief, reflect, rebound date like crazy, you know, they don't care, and then finally get serious about somebody. Some people are really good about, you know, I was married, yeah, it was a year ago, I'm ready to get married again because I enjoy being married, it just didn't work. And then you have to look at it like, are they willing to do this was the second video that I did, are they willing to do the techniques that you need to do and implement in action to keep a relationship going once it does start to kind of die off, and as I say, stop farting rainbows about each other and start really farting. What is your career goal? What are your aspirations? I have a really good friend now that when we first started talking, he was a flight attendant, he still is. Didn't work for me because I know me. I want someone that is going to come home and grab my booty at the end of the day, and, you know, we go off to dinner on the weekends and all that fun stuff. So somebody that's a flight attendant was not going to be around as much as I would have wanted for myself, knowing me enough to know that that's the type of person that I am. So you really have to learn yourself enough to ask these questions and to know what kind of questions that you need to ask in order to move forward. And then when you don't waste your time talking to Kiki and Johnny on the phone, because Kiki and Johnny, for me, had a cat, 2 cats, 3 cats, 4 cats, and we are not ever going to date because I'm not going to want you to get rid of your cats. It was a deal breaker for me. Or, you know, Mimi smoked cigarettes. Or, here's another question you need to ask: do you do any drugs? recreationally, socially, on an everyday basis? Any drugs? Cocaine, meth? Are you addicted to pills? This is a good question a lot of people don't think to ask. And a lot of people do drugs and will not tell you. A lot of people don't smoke cigarettes when you first meet them. It's a good question to ask. I smoke cigars. Do you have an issue with that? Are you going to have a problem with it? Are you going to try to tell me I need to stop doing it? Or do you do it and we can go together and relax? You need to know these things. So I just wanted to do this video. It's actually way shorter this time. I hope I didn't forget anything, but I want you guys to actually start considering the questions that you need to ask and then stop wasting your time. If somebody does not date or will not take you around their family, how long before you introduce me to your family? Because maybe you're a different culture. Oh, you know, my family would never let me marry outside of my my culture, or my religion, and you're not their culture or their religion, you're wasting your time. Now, some people lie, true, and then sometimes people may think, well, am I ever going to get to know that? Like, doesn't that take away getting to know someone? No, you will never stop learning about your partner. You can ask 100 questions, get 100 answers. You're going to have subsections, follow-up questions. You're going to also have to see if their actions match their answers. So don't ever think that you're not asking enough, that you're asking too many questions. You don't want to make it like a over the top interview where you're, you know, down their throat like an investigator, like they're in a police station getting interrogated. But you want to ask questions, and it's okay to ask questions. For me, when I first meet you, if I have time, I am going to spitfire some questions out, because I don't want you thinking of your lies. I don't want you trying to figure out how you're going to lie to me to try to get my number. If we hit, do you like dogs? And you go, no. I had to. I got one. I'm not getting rid of her for you. I love her a lot more than you. Always will. Sorry. She's a lot more loyal. Love her. She's been there. You know, then we cut it there. So just get your questions together. But make sure you've done your research first. Make sure you've done your year. I recommend 1 solid year of dating. Dating outside your box. Dating different heights, shapes, religions, cultures. You know, it's just a date. Go hang out with different people. You can even get different type of friends and just go from there. So that's it. I'm gonna take this call, and I want to end this video anyway. So